accusations being made against me.
I think there's a natural jealousy and dislike that they've had toward kept me from having as intimate a relationship with my children as I probably should have had.
The drama with Meri and that absolutely stunning journal Robyn gave her. I'm dying to know, did Meri keep it as a treasure or just toss it in the nearest trash can? I mean, that whole scene where she's awkwardly trying to move her stuff with Kody, and then bam, Robyn shows up crying with this hideous gift. It's like, oh, I won't help you, but here's a thoughtful gift you can cherish forever. Classic Robyn, right? I honestly respect Meri for not bursting into tears like everyone else. She just kept it cool and a little distant, which was honestly the best move. And when Kody had his weird meltdown, she didn't flinch. Major props for handling that mess with some actual dignity. And let's talk about Robyn's gift-giving skills, or should I say, her complete lack of them. Robyn doesn't give gifts for people. She gives gifts from her, things she thinks she would like, and then slaps a "I thought of you" label on it. Newsflash, Robyn, if you really thought of Meri when you bought that journal, it would have been way less frilly and a lot more practical. But no, it's all about what she would enjoy. I don't even know Meri personally, and I can already think of a better gift. Imagine this, a nice framed picture of her with Robyn's kids, with a sweet card drawn by the two youngest, wishing her the best in her new place. Now that's a gift anyone would appreciate. But I guess Robyn's just out here picking things that scream, I thought this was cute, so I'll force it on you. Classic Robyn. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Kody, the good dad, right? At least, that's what we're supposed to believe, especially back in the early days when the kids still thought he was a hero and he wasn't completely absorbed in his own narcissistic bubble. I mean, watching season 1, he seems okay. He spends time with his kids, communicates well, and doesn't seem like a total disaster, yet. According to Janelle, Christine, and Meri, Kody was this attentive, active, and caring father. And hey, little kids are pretty easy to love, cuddly, fun, and full of energy. Kody, being the attention-hungry narcissist he is, would naturally thrive off of that. But then they hit the teen years, independent, moody, and opinionated. Yikes, we've all been there. And Kody? Well, instead of dealing with it, he'd just pop out more babies. Because why deal with the challenges of teenagers when you can have more adorable little ones to keep feeding your ego? Let's be real, he created a giant mess of his life by greedily collecting wives and kids like they were some kind of trophies. 23 people depending on you? That's overwhelming. But hey, he made that choice, didn't he? I remember Garrison telling him to stop having kids, and Kody, in classic Kody fashion, snapped back with, well, it's a good thing that it's not up to you. It's clear Kody is the epitome of immaturity. Impulsive, reckless, and let's not forget, horny. He was great at playing the fun dad when the kids were little and impressionable, but when it came to actually doing any real parenting work, oh, he had a whole arsenal of excuses. Sure, he was good at pretending to be a good dad, performing the role, but let's not kid ourselves. The bar for good dad in this family was so low, it was practically underground. Flitting from house to house, patting his kids on the head and calling it a day? That's not being a good dad. A good dad might have actually cooked breakfast for his kids, well, except Logan, apparently, or at least been home at night to tuck them in, not aspine. And guess what? We've learned that Kody was often just gone, even in the days before the cameras were rolling. Now, a real good dad might have paused for a second when the family was food insecure and uninsured. Maybe, just maybe, a good dad would have thought, you know what? Let's hold off on more kids for a while. But nope, Kody kept the baby-making train rolling, because who needs stability when you can have more mouths to feed? And as for moving? Well, a good dad wouldn't drag his family across state lines 19 times, from Montana to Wyoming, to Utah, to Vegas, back to Wyoming, back to Utah, and finally to Flagstaff. A good dad wouldn't marry a younger fourth wife, adding even more financial strain and kids to the mix. But Kody? Well, he did all of that, and then had another baby right away once he married her. So no, Kody wasn't a good dad. He was just really good at performing the role of one. The kind of dad who shows up for the highlight reel and leaves the real parenting to others. Rewatching Robyn's lovely wedding with the advice to pay attention to the faces of those who aren't talking really opened my eyes. In the last episode of Season 1, Robyn goes on and on about the secret ceremony, how beautiful and magical it was. Meanwhile, the expressions on the faces of the OG3, who've all had this same ceremony, are absolutely priceless. Like, really? Was it that amazing? Anybody else catch that? I went back to watch it again, and what stood out to me was how beautiful Robyn looked back then. She was glowing, but contrast that with the OG3, yikes. They looked a lot older than their years. Fast forward to now, and it's like they've all magically lightened up. They look younger, freer. Meanwhile, Robyn has put on weight and aged a lot. Could it be Kody's influence? You bet it is. Living with that guy clearly took its toll on the OG3. And now Robyn's wearing the stress too. It's almost like stress is her new accessory. And about that ceremony, apparently it's all about the new wife joining hands with the husband and the latest wife. How fun for Christine, who was, newly postpartum. I'm sure she was thrilled to participate in that moment of marital bliss, while probably just wanting a nap. Oh, and I noticed something else on my rewatch. Robyn looked absolutely skin and bones. You'd think a woman living in a plural family with enough mouths to feed might know a thing or two about grocery budgeting, right? Well, apparently not. She made this comment when they were moving her in, saying all her stuff was in storage. Guess what? Watching the Vegas episodes later, it's clear she didn't have a storage unit at all. She still had nothing. Embarrassing much. It's almost like she was too proud to admit she didn't have a single thing to her name. So, I'm on the hunt for a new Sister Wives podcast to binge. I was all about the Ace and Caitlyn podcast and their Patreon, because who doesn't love a deep dive into reality TV? But their creepy cult followers somehow made me feel like I needed to sanitize my brain. So yeah, they chased me away. Now I need something new. Bonus points if it covers the old seasons of Sister Wives, because who doesn't love revisiting the drama of yesteryear? Oh, and I already tune into the Everybody's Business podcast for my Sister Wives fix, but I need more. I'm into Surviving Sister Wives and Psych Legal Pop, plus the Fraudcast. They're solid, but there's still a gap in my podcast playlist. Also, shout out to the Sister Wives professor. Dr. Adam is the man. His takes are fair, and the fact that he's a professor of interpersonal and family communication gives him a unique perspective that's a lot more intellectually stimulating than most reality TV chatter. Honestly, I think he's probably too classy for this show, but I'm not complaining. And of course, I love reality TV cringe. They're all about re-wins during the off-season, and right now they're working their way through Season 6. It's like watching a car crash, but you can't look away. So yeah, recommendations? Need more of that sweet Sister Wives commentary to get me through the week. Hunter Brown's Instagram just vanished. Poof, gone. He had a ton of pictures, and I was one of the followers. Honestly, it's kind of strange. But then again, we're coming up on the anniversary of his brother's death. I'd probably deactivate for a bit too if I were him. Who wants strangers commenting, reaching out, or offering well-meaning words about a deceased sibling? It makes sense to lay low for a while. That's exactly where my mind went too. The lead up to a death anniversary, it's brutal. I lost my dad in early January a long time ago, and even now, every year around Christmas, I start feeling down. For them, being in the public eye, it's got to be even worse. I don't blame him one bit for taking a break. Also, a lot of people are backing away from Meta apps these days. Back in November, I deleted Facebook entirely, wiped my Instagram clean, and then deleted the app. I left a blank page with a message in the bio, just in case anyone needed to reach me through other accounts. I'm hearing more and more people doing the same. Maybe that's what Hunter's doing too. I've never followed them on social media, but if he had a Facebook that's gone now, maybe he's just stepping away from all of Meta. Christine really knew how to use the couch confessionals to her advantage. I've had a newfound respect for her, honestly. She straight up dropped bombshells that probably had the other wives spinning in circles. Sure, it's been a while since I watched the first episode, but I distinctly remember in episode 2, Christine was already calling out Kody for dipping out on the family to court Robyn. She was pissed, and rightfully so. She even admitted that she felt like she lost her best friend. And get this, she didn't meet Robyn for 4 weeks after everyone else, and she was not happy about it. That's some real, unfiltered honesty, especially considering her pregnancy hormones were probably acting like a truth serum, and she was heartbroken from the jump. Meanwhile, in Season 1, Episode 2, Janelle said something about how all our needs are met. But if you looked closely, her eyes basically rolled out of her head. All the women were just parroting lines to make Kody look like some kind of family superhero. But Christine, she wasn't having it. She took full advantage of having the camera on her and told it like it was, way more often than any of the other wives did. That's why I can't take the whole Robyn earned her keep by bringing the drama narrative seriously. Sure, Robyn was a drama magnet just by existing, but it was Christine who actually brought the tension into the light. Janelle was too busy playing it safe, and Meri was desperately trying to stay in everyone's good books. Without Christine calling out the nonsense, we never would have gotten such a clear picture of how terribly Kody was managing his family. Now, don't get me wrong, I still find Christine insufferable most of the time, but let's be real, she did bring the plot. It does make me wonder though, was Christine more confident in the earlier seasons because she was the youngest, the new wife? She still had that special status in Kody's eyes until Robyn showed up and snatched that away pretty quickly. Christine lost her superpowers the moment Robyn stepped onto the scene. The timeline is weird too. In the book, it says Christine learned about Robyn the day after the dance and was tasked with throwing big parties to get Robyn to accept their invitation. But the timing of it all just doesn't quite add up. Christine was definitely bolder in the beginning, but maybe that was because she had more room to speak freely. What we don't see, though, is how Meri was struggling behind the scenes during the courtship, before the show even aired. On camera, she admitted to a downward spiral, and the book touches on how she had to go to therapy. And of course, Kody melted down her ring, so she wouldn't have any control over him. By the time those confessionals were filmed, Meri had already been beaten down emotionally. What if we hit the reset button on the show, but Robyn never came into the picture? We'd still be following the Browns as they muddle through their lives for years. Only now we'd be at the point where Truly is the only kid still hanging around, and the two moms could officially join the ranks of empty nesters. Assuming the older kids actually moved out, went to college, or got married, of course. But seriously, do we actually think the OG 3 wives would have stuck together once they hit that empty nester phase? Meri was already feeling pretty abandoned when Leon went off to college. So staying in that one big house with everyone else might have made her loneliness worse. Would it have helped if she'd had her own space? Who knows? Honestly, it's intriguing to think about where they'd be right now without Robyn's dramatic entrance into their lives. I mean, would they have even moved to Vegas in the first place? Maybe. Kody was always talking about wanting to go there, and let's be real, it's practically a Mormon hotspot for some reason. But without Robyn to stir things up, the whole Vegas move might have just been a blip on their radar. And then there's Meri. If Robyn never joined, Meri wouldn't have had to keep living in this weird purgatory where she was constantly discouraged from seeking a life outside the family. Maybe she would have gotten her degree earlier, or hell, maybe she'd have gone full solo and left sooner. If Robyn wasn't around to provide a shiny new version of Meri, maybe Kody's toxic back and forth with her would have continued indefinitely. As for Christine, who knows? Without Robyn, would she have had more kids? Sure, Kody wanted more, especially after Truly was born. But with all the pressure of feeling replaced by someone else, she might have kept things to a manageable number. Or maybe she still would have struggled with postpartum depression, but the weight of it might have been easier to handle if she hadn't felt like Kody was moving on from her. Now, the Browns still could have moved out of Vegas eventually. Let's face it, they can't seem to stay put for long. But without Robyn around to shake things up, maybe they would have stuck it out longer, waiting until the kids graduated, or perhaps they would have just spread out and lived more independently at different times. And what about that gym? Kody was all about it, and Janelle was on board. But without someone pushing Kody into selling overpriced jewelry, maybe they could have actually followed through with the gym idea. And who knows? It could have turned into a chain by now. Instead, we got a bunch of awkward jewelry sales and no gym in sight. Classic. All in all, the family's trajectory without Robyn would have looked wildly different. Probably for the better, but that's a whole other conversation. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.